everybody, I just wanted to pop on here really quick to open up this video because I'm about to head out to the thrift store. I haven't gone thrift shopping in so long. It's been a couple of months actually. So I thought it'd be fun to head out there today, even though it's super windy and cold outside, but I'm gonna brave it and head there. And I just wanted to let you guys know what this video is going to be about. So basically, hopefully I can do some filming while I'm there and show you what I'm seeing and what I pick up. I'm not really looking for anything in particular, except for maybe some candlesticks, because I do have a fun idea for upcycling some candlesticks. But other than that, I'm just gonna see what kind of treasures I find and if I can find anything that I can do some fun thrift flips with. So yeah, that is what today's video is going to be about. So I'm gonna head out right now. I'll take you guys with me, and then when I get back, I'll do a little thrift haul and then see what we can come up with for some DIYs. Okay, it is now several days later from when I introed this video, but I wanted to show you what I picked up the other day when I went shopping secondhand. So I did find a bunch of candlesticks, which is what I think I mentioned I was looking for. And I found a bunch of glass candlesticks in different shapes and sizes, and I was really happy to find these. They were kind of like on an end cap at the store, and they just had a whole bunch of them. So I picked up pretty much all of them that they had. They were each $2 to $3, which I think was a pretty good deal. So I'm really excited that I found those. And I did also order a couple more online. I ordered a couple more glass ones as well as some unfinished wood candlesticks, because that is one of the other things I was looking for while I was thrifting, but I couldn't find them. But I found some for pretty cheap online, so I'm excited to have those arrive, add them to this collection, and then show you guys what I'm gonna do with them. I also picked up this little bowl slash dish type thing, and this was painted in the past. I can tell because they just painted right over the tag on the bottom. So this is not the original color. It looks like it might have been white or silver. So I'm actually going to just repaint it for what I want to use it for, and I'm actually going to be using a material for this little thrift flip here that I haven't used in a very long time. So I'm excited to experiment with that again and see how this comes together. So like I said, for this little bowl, I think I want to spray paint it because it has already been painted once and it wasn't a very good job. There's splotches everywhere and it just wasn't painted fully. So it's gonna need another coat of a different color. And I did pick up this charcoal colored chalk paint the other day, and I really like using chalk paint because it gives it a nice matte finish, so you're not gonna have some glossy sheen to your final project, which I personally prefer. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this a couple coats of this charcoal chalk paint. It's a really nice day outside, so I'm just gonna take this outside and give it a couple coats. Okay, so this looks really good. I'm so happy with the color change. It's just more of a muted tone, which is going to help this next step really pop. So I'm happy with this. Like I said, that chalk spray paint dries so fast. That's why I love using it. Within 15 minutes or so, this thing was completely dry. So let's move on to the next step. I mentioned before I'm using a material that I haven't worked with in quite a while, and that is resin. So I'm actually going to be mixing this up and pouring it inside of my little dish here, putting some dried flowers inside of it, and I think it's going to be the cutest little trinket tray. Resin is a really cool medium to work with. I've seen people make coasters and trays, even art with it. So there are just a lot of different things you can do. And the way that it works is you mix equal parts of the resin and then some hardener, mix it up, and then over time it will cure, harden, and become basically like a plastic. So I cut up a little paper cup that I'm going to be using for measuring how much I pour out. And then I'm going to add both parts into this plastic cup and mix them together with a popsicle stick. and you're supposed to mix it for about 5 minutes before you pour it into your mold or whatever you're using. Now, the thing about working with resin is you always want to wear a pair of gloves, and I personally like to wear a mask. It is harmful to your skin. You do not want to get it on your skin. So make sure you wear gloves and even like a long sleeve shirt if you're worried about spilling it. And I like to wear a mask so that I'm not breathing in the fumes. So I'm going to start out by mixing equal parts of the resin and the hardener. And like I said, I'm using this little cup that I made as sort of my measuring cup. I'm not sure how much I'm gonna need of each one. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. But however much of this part A I pour into here, I'm gonna then transfer it into the plastic cup, and then I'll pour the exact same amount of the hardener in there and then pour that into the plastic cup. The directions say to mix it slowly for a minimum of 5 minutes. I kind of messed this part up and started mixing a little too quickly at first, so I do have a few air bubbles, but hopefully those will kind of break and spread out as I'm pouring it. Okay, time to pour into the dish, and hopefully this is the right amount. It looks like it will be. So I don't want it to go all the way up to the top because I do want it to be kind of like sunk down a little bit so I can add little items on top. Now it's time to add my dried florals. I picked a few of these up at the craft store, and then I also have some dried florals that I just grabbed from my collection of craft supplies. I have a few different ones. So I'm just gonna drop these in here really lightly. Okay, now I'm gonna take this popsicle stick and just sort of push each of these pieces down under the resin, and then also put some extra resin from the sides on top of everything so that it will have a nice smooth layer on top. Okay, this is now complete. I absolutely love the way that it looks. If I used a lighter color of paint, I think that everything would pop a bit more, the colors of the flowers, but honestly, I'm liking the sort of like moody, muted tones of this charcoal with the flowers, so I am into it. It needs to cure overnight at least, so I'm gonna go ahead and set it in the other room and let it cure and do its thing, and then we'll check it out tomorrow. These are the wood candlesticks that I mentioned earlier that I picked up online, so I'll link these down below for you guys if you want to try this one out. But they're really lightweight, they're just unfinished wood candlesticks. And I saw this picture of some candlesticks on West Elm. They were like really colorful, a little bit bright, and I just thought they were so pretty. And I wanted to try to make them on my own, and I had this idea of basically using paint as a wood stain. So I'm going to try to turn this into a wood stain so that you can still see the grain of the wood, but then you get this nice vibrant color as well. So we'll see if it works. So the process to achieve this wood stain look but with paint is to mix 1 part paint with 2 parts water. So basically we're just watering down the paint to make it really light but still get that color, that pigmentation onto the candlestick, but let the wood grain really shine through. I literally filled up my watering can so that I don't have to keep running back and forth and that it's easy to pour. And if you're worried about ruining the candlestick and not having the right proportions, you can always grab just a piece of scrap wood and test out your proportions on that first. So I almost even think that this could be like a little bit thinner. It's definitely showing the wood grain, but I don't know, I feel like it could even have a little bit more water to it because the wood is kind of just like soaking in the color. I like it though, it is looking cool. You can definitely still tell that it's a wood candlestick underneath the paint. I do think that this color is perfect though, because when you look at the reference photo, this is like the exact same color. I really like it. I'm trying to incorporate a little bit more color into my decor lately. Just having a little bit more fun with it. Next up, I'm going to work on the pink one. Okay, so let's go ahead and try it out on here and see what it looks like. So I get questions a lot about just like where I purchase candlesticks and things like that, because I use them to style my mantle a lot. I use them a lot in my holiday decor, tablescapes, things like that. And honestly, my answer almost every time is that I buy them secondhand. I thrift them. I go to like an estate sale, a flea market, and you can find so many cool candlesticks by doing that. Almost every time I go to the thrift store, they have different kinds of candlesticks. So I think that's probably one of my biggest tips as far as decorating on a budget. because usually they're like $2, $3, and you would pay a lot of money for those brand new. So if you're ever on the hunt for candlesticks, I definitely recommend going out thrifting, buying secondhand. It's just such a great deal. I always say this when I make DIYs, but I feel like this would be a really good gift for someone too. Like a cute little set of candlesticks and taper candles, especially maybe as like a housewarming gift or a host gift. I don't know, I always try to think of that when I'm coming up with projects in my head. I'm like, what? I know I would like this, obviously. I'm making it for myself usually, but also, since I do make so many things, like, could I gift this to someone as well? This one looks so good. What do you think? I think they look super cute together. I have to decide what color I want to make this one, or maybe I'll just leave it plain and have them like that. I'm not sure yet. I gotta decide. Next up, we have a bit of a variation on what I did in my last video where I used Mod Podge and food coloring to make colored glass out of old candle jars. This time I'm going to attempt to make vintage colored glass candlesticks. So I'll show you a picture of kind of what I'm going for. But basically, yeah, I really want to try to see if I can use this same method, well, kind of similar, to create colored glass for candlesticks. I don't know if it's gonna work, but I have high hopes for it, so I'm hoping that it does, and I'm just gonna experiment with it like I did last time and see what we come up with. So I'm gonna add a bit of this into this little container. This is gonna be my mixing container, and I'm just going to wash it out in between colors. So I'm gonna add just 1 to 2 drops in here because I want the color to be really, really light. And I'm actually gonna add some water this time around. Last time I didn't add water, but I want this to be watery so that I can dab it onto these candlesticks and just have it kind of be runny. So hopefully that works. So I'm gonna add a little bit of water. Okay, that's pretty watery, but I think it looks nice. So I'm gonna try this candlestick first and just kind of dab it on here. And then I'm actually not going to bake them this time. I'm going to let them air dry. So basically what I want to do is just have it kind of like run onto the glass more so than like spread and have streaks in it, I guess. I don't actually know if this is gonna work. I've never tried this before, but there's first time for everything. So it already looks really cool. I'm just a little bit nervous about this part pooling at the bottom because it's all kind of dripping down this way, but I'm just gonna go with it. So I'm gonna move on to the next color now. Okay, on to the next one. I love the shape of this one. This is really nice and heavy too, so I just wouldn't normally use it as just a glass regular candlestick. It's not really my style, but having a little color tint to it just makes it a little more fun. I think I'm just gonna do 1 drop because I feel like purple can be very, very dark. And last time we saw what happened when I added too much of the green. It was like, whoa. Okay, it's actually not that dark. So I think I'm gonna add 1 more drop, but this looks so awesome. It's definitely easier the more watery it is because it kind of allows itself to spread out rather than me having to brush it. I'm actually imagining how cool this would be as wedding decor. Like you can make your own colored glass depending on your color scheme of your wedding and then use this on the tables as like your little centerpieces or whatever. That would be such a good idea. You could collect all different types of assorted candlesticks from the thrift stores. When I got married, we used like all these old little glass jars and bottles that my grandfather had. I think he like dug them up. Like he used to go metal detecting and also just like digging in different areas where you could find little old jars and bottles. And he let us use them, and they were just so eclectic. And we put little wildflowers in them, and it was really pretty. So you could kind of do something similar with this, but just with like mismatched candlesticks. That looks awesome. This is so cool. I'm so excited. So these have been drying for about an hour, just about an hour, and I've been watching them as they dry. And first of all, they turned out exactly as I was hoping they would. I'm so excited about that. I just let them air dry. I did not bake them or anything like that. So I want to give you a few tips that I learned along the way, especially as I was watching them dry. I kind of saw which ones dried more quickly and things like that. So I'm going to give you a few tips that I learned. One is to add a little bit less water. So you do want to add the water because it really helps to have everything kind of like spread out, but you don't want to add too much because then it's going to be too thin and it's just going to drip right off. So basically I would say like 2 parts Mod Podge to maybe 1 part water. I also think that the color that you choose makes a big difference. So this pink was a lot more of a rich color than the purple, and as you can see, this is a little bit brighter. So if I had added about 1 to 2 more drops of the purple, I think this would have been a richer purple color, but I still really like the way that it looks. Another thing that I noticed was that some of the Mod Podge, like I mentioned before, was kind of like pooling at the bottom of each of these. And as it was drying, I was like, oh, the rest of it's completely clear, but those areas are just sort of still like white. You can see the Mod Podge, but I let them dry a little bit longer and it actually did eventually turn clear. So it wasn't streaky or anything like that. For this one, I did take a really lightly damp wet paper towel and just sort of dab it along these bottom edges where it had really pooled. And then that helped it to actually dry a little bit faster as well. I think this is such a fun look. I'm loving the colors for spring, so I hope you guys will try this one out. That is it for today's video. It has been a long day of DIYing, so I hope you guys enjoyed seeing these projects come together. Again, this was very much a trial and error process for me, which I've been really enjoying lately just because I like trying new techniques and then sharing them with you guys and sharing all my tips and tricks. So hopefully you guys will try these out. Let me know in the comments down below which one of these DIYs was your favorite. I cannot pick this week. I think these are both so cool. Actually, there were 3 methods. So I think all of these were so cool, but I'd really love to hear which one you guys loved the most. Like I said earlier, I just think it is so much fun to head to a thrift store, head to a flea market, an estate sale, and just find some items that you can breathe new life into, give them a little bit of a refresh, and then style them around your own space. I think it is just such a rewarding process. If you guys do try any of these out, make sure you tag me on Instagram. I love to see your recreations and it's so much fun if you follow me over there. I love to share DIY reels and things like that. So I'd love to have you follow along. It's just my name @KatieBookser. And of course, if you're not subscribed to my channel already, I really hope that you will hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so you get notified whenever I post a new video. Thank you guys for watching and I'll see you soon.